Probably want to turn it up. There you go.
Won't you come home to Valley? Won't you come home?
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm on the whole night long.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'll do the cooking, honey. I'll pay the rent. I know I've done you wrong. Remember that rainy evening I threw you out with nothing but a fine-tooth comb? No, I'm to blame. Well, ain't that a shame? Bill Bailey, won't you please come home? Jeff said I had to sing this song.
I love it.
Because this is a Patsy Cline did it. It's country, and she was a cowgirl. And here we have Heather Ruble. She's Heather Ruble, but I say Heather Ruble. And she is a cowgirl who lives on a farm or a ranch, whichever you'd say, right? Cowgirl, ranch, cowgirl, farm. Does it all match?
Ranch. We
Ranch.
don't really farm crop.
There you go.
That's
What's the
the
difference?
difference.
What's the difference? I didn't know.
Farms
There you go.
have crops.
Okay.
Green bean farm, corn farm. Ranches have animals.
I just learned something new.
Yeah.
I should have known that, shouldn't I? I should have known that.
No,
Just like I know
no.
the difference between hillbilly and cow and farm country boy. I know that difference because Ben, our editor, shared that with us. But I did not know that. Ben told us hillbilly is more like the urban kind of a little low life type person. That's what Ben told us. I could be getting Ben in a lot of trouble. Like a little more dangerous guy.
Hillbilly's more of a
Little-
negative.
Yeah,
Hillbilly's
yeah.
more of a negative. It's
That's
like,
it. Yeah.
Hillbilly is just like a stupid person that lives in the mountains.
That's
It's
exactly.
whatever.
Well, a country boy is someone who just is a good boy.
But
Good
lives in the
boy.
country.
Lives in
Yeah.
the country and has respect and isn't a kind of criminal type. That's what Ben said. So I hope, Ben, I'm not getting you in
I think
trouble.
hillbillies were the ones that made moonshine and stuff.
There you go. Country boys. There. Okay. So Heather, okay. We have been on Heather's ranch and we were blown away by how beautiful it is. Tell us what you have on the ranch.
We have mostly horses now, and we have some cows. We have a dog and too many cats.
Yeah. The cats they're not inside your beautiful home, are they?
Oh, no.
No. Well, do you
They have a
think-
job. They have to stay outside.
Yes. Do they, what do the cats eat?
Everything. Mice,
That's right.
Rodents.
Rodents. That's why you have
an occasional rabbit.
Oh no.
We
I
had
know.
11 cats outside.
11?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
like
a
11
lot.
Cats growing up, yeah. They were all barn cats.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
We have a Yorkie.
He's smaller than our cats.
It
Same
is.
thing.
Our little guy,
Wh-
but he's an indoor Yorkie. We have a little doggy door.
And you
Little
you
Victorian
could have your
doggy
own
door.
Yorkie if you buy it in the Upper East Side of Manhattan for $3,000.
3 to 5.
That's why we only have one Yorkie, but we got them really, really cheap. We got Midwest price.
Yeah.
And our little
Lord.
Willie is so sweet. And you have Tucker.
We have Tucker.
You know what?
We should have brought Tucker.
Guess what? Let's show Tucker.
Can we show him?
Let's show Tucker. We're working on a project. We'll talk about that. We'll
Okay.
talk about that.
Okay.
Fine.
But do you want to show it? Let's
Yes.
show that. It's called a sizzle reel that
Is Tucker in it?
Tucker is in this
Yes,
one.
he's in the credits.
Of course he
Oh,
is.
I
So
knew that.
Oh my
How do you
gosh,
not
he's in
know
the
that?
credits. He's
How do you not
literally
know that?
I don't know. I don't
starring
keep up.
Tucker as himself. I mean, he's a principal character in the
Did you
show.
do voiceover on this?
Yes, she did.
All right.
Starring Heather and Zach Ruble.
Have you ever been consumed with yourself? Everything becomes all about you, your goals, your plans, your desires. There is one who has a perfect plan. He is writing your story. When he stops you dead in your tracks, and you are faced with choosing faith over fear. Sometimes it takes a little bit of faith and letting go of the reins to have unbridled faith.
Jeremiah chapter 1, how I have plans for you. Before you were even in your mom's womb, I have plans for you. I've ordained you. I've called you. And then Jeremiah, you shoot forward, it has the story about the potter's wheel in Jeremiah and how he forms you and he makes you. And at times it seems like he puts you on the potter's wheel, he crumbles you all up, and then he's got to remake you again.
This was your idea.
My idea. Get me into this mess. Be careful. You came a long way, sweetie.
Look at you.
Never been haltered before. Why don't you take those sunglasses off and let me see your pretty eyes?
No.
Let me see your pretty eyes. Come here.
No.
Oh, there we go. Now we can go in the house. Oh, you're so terrible. You look so pretty, even in your work outfit. Let me get the door for you.
Oh my gosh, do we have to do this again?
What's wrong? Oh, I know you love being hugged, don't you?
Oh my goodness. Close the door. I'm tired of waiting. I don't want to have a baby.
What kind of baby?
Kenneth Mr. Baby.
Yeah, so is that what you're going to start your book about?
Maybe.
Maybe. Cool. I think chapter 1 should be, let's have a baby. Chapter 2, let's do it now.
Heather, that's amazing. Okay,
Ooh.
we want the backstory. What? No, okay, we want to take it right back to the womb. Tell us your story. Tell us Zach's story. Tell us how this happened.
Well,
Tell us.
do I have to go all the way back to the womb, or can I kind of start in the
Yes.
middle? Like,
Well, I go back. The reason I go back to the womb is my mother's developmental psychologist, so she literally has stories about us in the womb. But that's a whole other
Well,
story.
I will-
You don't have to go to the womb.
well, I will start. I'll start with that. That Zach, he's way more interesting than I am. So I'll just
Yeah.
I'll talk about
Enjoy.
him a little bit
We're
more.
all
But
fearfully, wonderfully, uniquely made with our own story.
Uh,
So you are very interesting.
he was a little boy. He had this cute little pony, and they lived in the country. And destined to be a cowboy, he got saved watching Gospel Bill. Which,
Loved Gospel Bill.
absolutely. And so he got saved. He was about 4 years old. And the story goes that they left the country and moved to an urban area. And he forgot all about farm life and horses and country life. And he started playing sports and kind of got involved in urban activities.
He was a track runner, right?
He was a track runner. He was a basketball player. He played a little bit of football for Evangel University here, here in Springfield, and ran track at Evangel.
Yes.
And he met me while he was in college, and he remembered his inner country boy and remembered his inner cowboy, and I brought that out of him. And
He fell in love with you first sight. Love at
All right,
first
let's
sight.
talk about the cowgirl.
Yes.
How
Okay.
did you become that
wanna know-
cowgirl?
I want to know where you were born.
Yeah. Go. Let's
Tell us where
We
you
got
were
his
born.
backstory basically.
And we gotta have
Let's hear
Zach
you.
on
Let's
next
hear yours.
time.
okay,
And together, we can have you again.
okay. I was born south of St. Louis in Festus, Missouri.
Okay. I've never been to Festus.
Never heard of it.
How big is Festus?
I have no idea, but the town that I grew up in is about 1,240 people.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's small.
Yes. Well, it's big for me. 'Cause that was town. We went to town.
What was in your town?
A bank. We had a post office, and sometimes we had a grocery store when they didn't get put out of business or shut down.
Where'd you go to grocery shopping?
Normally, we went to a neighboring town, which is
Okay.
around Farmington, Missouri.
Okay, and you were an only child.
I was.
How was that? Because we have an only child.
Well, I wouldn't know how it would
Exactly.
be different, so I thought it was great.
So did
And
Helena.
The thing now as an adult, the things that I think about is I live away from my parents, and I'm their only child, so I'm their only family, and so that makes it a little
Yes.
bit harder. They should have maybe had like 10 kids.
Yeah.
That
I
way,
know.
they had company
Yes.
while I'm not around.
Yes, yes. We were at the lake yesterday, and we were reminiscing. Helena's away at school. We'd bring all her friends to the lake because as an only child, but if ever she came alone with us when she was very little, she looked for friends to play with at the
Aw.
lake.
Well,
She just would look for friends.
I played by myself a lot, and I played with stuffed animals all the time, and
Yeah.
my parents didn't like animals. That's the funny thing. So I never had a pet. I didn't have very many pets.
So you were basically a suburban girl?
No,
or-
I lived out in the country, but they were like no animals. They
You didn't have a dog?
No, I did not have a dog, but the neighbors had a dog, and
That's wild.
he spent more time at my house because I played with him.
You
He'd
do
go
all
home
see
to eat.
Tucker. Tucker's
Yes,
so sweet.
Tucker.
Tucker is Tucker as himself in the show. We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll talk about that in
Yep.
a bit. But okay, so
Yeah.
you didn't have a dog.
No,
but
they-
you played with other dogs.
Yes.
So what happened?
So we lived out in the country, and so the neighbor's dog came and played, and I liked the neighbor's dog. And then there was horses across the street, and so I'm assuming that was probably the first time that I had seen a horse. And whenever I was 4 years old at the time, and but yeah, probably the same age as Zach. And I saw my first horse, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to ride those things. And so I would. All I had was a halter and a lead rope, and the neighbor was
Okay,
gracious
say that
enough.
again. You had
Oh.
we know. Tell what we know now. but-
Yeah, well, I didn't have any. I didn't have a saddle. I didn't have a bridle. I didn't have anything. But somehow I had a halter and a lead rope. Somebody had bought me, and
Okay,
then
tell what
We don't even know what
it
you mean
just-
by halter.
It's like a collar and
I
a
know
leash
a
for a
halter.
dog.
Okay,
like a collar
the
and a leash
lead
for a
rope
dog.
is a collar and a lead. Yeah.
And so I could go out there and halter the neighbor's horse, and my dad would lead me around on it when I was a kid.
They
and-
let you play with it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes,
That's nice.
yeah. So when I was 16, they asked if I wanted. I was crazy about horses, and they said, "Do you want a car or a horse?" And I just turned 16. And I said, "I want a horse."
I see.
And that's what they got me.
Now, did you grow up in a church or
Mhm.
did you? Okay.
Yeah, I grew up Church of God out of Cleveland, Tennessee, and same church my entire life. Zach was inside the same denomination, very similar to the Assemblies of God, and he was in Cuba, and
Tell what Cuba,
Missouri.
Cuba, Missouri, and Covenant Praise Church of God. So when I went to college, that was his home church, and it was nearby my college, and I just started attending there, and that's how we met.
And where'd you go to college?
University of Missouri Rolla, which is now Missouri S&T School of Engineering.
And you became a
Civil engineer.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell
Okay.
people what that is.
Well, typically we would design roads and bridges and infrastructure for cities, sanitary sewer, water distribution systems. I've done a little bit of that, but more recently I act as a construction project manager.
Yes.
So
we saw that
I
in the
manage,
video.
yes, I manage a lot of men on a
We-
construction side with heavy equipment.
What was the ratio of females? Because I know S&T has
Right,
a very small.
By the time that I had gotten there, it had gotten a little bit better, and I think we were around a 7-to-1, 7 guys to 1 girl.
How'd that go?
It was great. I never had a problem finding somebody
So
to help me with
how
homework.
did Zach win the competition?
I want to hear. I don't know this.
You
Okay,
don't know
both met at the church.
Mhm.
You went all alone to this church.
So it was, yes, I was leaving, and his dad was dragging him out the front doors of the church, saying, "Wait, Heather, I want you to meet my son Zach. I want you to meet my son
So
Zach."
you were going there before
Yeah.
Zach, because he was away at school.
He was
or
away at
something?
school, and he was home on
Okay.
So his father.
So his father's dragging him out the front doors of the church, and I'm thinking, oh great, this poor kid is getting completely embarrassed by his dad.
Yes.
And so I was trying to be very nice and
Yes.
encourage. Hi, nice
Yeah.
to meet you. And he was like looking away and acting.
He was shy. Was
Yeah, but he was acting cocky, and I so.
no.
Yeah, so
how
I was like,
dare he?
This jerk, like
How dare he?
his dad thinks he's a good old boy going to church, and probably deep down inside he doesn't want to meet a church girl.
Oh,
and
was-
and I don't even think he said 2 words to me. He was like, "Hi."
that
And-
is a right. Was he at Evangel then?
Yes.
What year was he in?
Oh, probably his 3rd year, second or third.
So he was
Second,
like
maybe
this-
his 2nd year. Yeah.
His track star at Evangel.
How soon
Right.
afterwards did
But that
you
wasn't the
conf-
case. That wasn't really what was
Okay.
going on.
So
He
what was-
Right.
he was so nervous. He couldn't even talk to me, and he couldn't even look at me.
But when
I
did
scared
you,
him from
You
day
did?
one.
When did you figure that out?
Yeah.
Oh, once we started talking.
So
and
the next time
dating.
you started talking, you went to church again, or did he call you?
So the next time I had seen him, he must have gotten a little bit of the boldness of the Holy Spirit in him, and he came up and he was a lot nicer, and he smiled
so
and carried.
sweet?
I
Oh,
know. It wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't cocky at all. He was actually like, I don't know. He was probably getting ready to pass out or something.
That is, that's so sweet.
I know.
Which is probably why his dad did that. Because he's
Right.
like, come on,
He knew.
they got one. This one is
That
not
is-
going to let her get
Drug
away.
him through those doors,
That's-
What a
kicking
rock.
Now,
and
what year were
screaming.
you in? What year in school?
I was
were
in my
you
3rd year.
And how
Okay.
about he?
I was actually
Second
at the
or third?
end. I was at the end of my 3rd year.
Okay.
He was also about the same.
Second or third?
Yeah, he took a lot longer to go through school.
Yes.
He was on like a 6-year program.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, our family does the 20-year program.
Yeah,
We
he was on the
do,
6-year.
Undergraduate, graduate. That's what kind of all of us do. So as long as you get through it, but some don't need to. Some
Yeah.
go into a trade, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you got married, and then when did you move to the ranch and started with all the animals? Share that. how
Okay,
that
so remember how
started.
he was a jock and I had to pull out his inner cowboy. So when we got married, we moved and we lived in an apartment on a golf course. I know. I know.
Where?
Did you golf?
North of Springfield. Oh no, I don't really golf. I mean, I can swing a club and hit a
Golf
white
is
ball,
he,
but
boring,
he didn't
isn't
either.
it?
He didn't either.
he likes to golf.
Okay.
So we lived at this golf course north of Springfield here, north of I-44, and I lived there for about 6 months, and I said I cannot take it anymore. Like we've got to buy a house, we've got to buy property. I got to get my horse here because I still had a horse. My horse went
And how far away was your horse at this
about
time?
20 miles. Yeah. So we bought a house and moved to our first place and lived there about 10 years and grew in numbers.
Okay, what was so you brought your horse. Which horse did you bring to the
The one, if you paid attention, the
Okay.
one that was bucking on the
Oh,
video, that was my
yes.
first
That's
horse.
right.
Yeah, she was 21, I believe, when we shot that.
Okay, now how old do horses
That's
usually
old.
live to?
That's old,
Is
yeah.
there anything like, dog years, there's 7?
I
Do
don't
horses have that?
I don't know. Horses, they vastly vary. I mean,
Yes.
but 20 is old for a horse.
Okay.
And why did he buck him off? What was it? Was he's like, this guy's too heavy. I want my girl
How
back.
did
Yeah.
do we have to disclose our secrets of what we did?
Nah, yeah.
Yeah, we can. So what I had done is the horse is 21 years old, so I know the horse very well, and I know what makes her tick. And we had tightened, so we pulled her out of a trailer, and we didn't even let her stretch her legs at all. So we didn't let her warm up. We tightened the back cinch, which is the second cinch that you see in the back, and it was like what you would see on a bucking strap for a bull. So we tightened it up really tight, and we just let her stand there. We didn't want her to move, and so that she would feel that squeeze back there on behind.
Because this was at a competition, or
no. We
the
set the
video.
stage for
Yes.
that. Yes, yeah. And then we used a certain kind of bit that asked her to lower her head to get her in that position. And we didn't even know if she would buck. We actually prayed. We said, Lord, please let this horse buck like we think she will, and she did.
Yes, she did.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's
Hold
go
on,
back.
hold on, because I'm a little bit confused. I want to get back to when he really was.
When he really was bucked off.
Yeah, because what you're talking about is how you kind of
how we
showed
that
for the video.
Mhm.
But tell us about how it really happened. So was not that?
It was not that horse. No.
Okay,
No.
tell us about that.
I was actually on that horse when he got bucked off. But
Wow.
Go back to,
Go ahead.
okay, what you just saw is a sizzle reel that is being pitched for a TV show based on Zach and Heather's life.
correct.
And it all started with Zach having a life-changing accident that, please share that with us, how it all started.
What we were showing there was a remake of what actually happened. And we were at a team sorting here in Brookline, Missouri. And
What were you at?
a team sorting where they sort cows out, and it was a Sunday afternoon. We had went to church and then took
Sort
our horses.
cows out for what?
Just
To buy.
Dumb
it's a
it down.
competition.
Oh,
and he was on a young horse that hadn't had a lot of exposure, and I was actually supposed to be riding it, but I was warming up the horse he was supposed to be riding. And as he was warming him up a little bit on a line, I looked over and I saw him getting in the saddle, and my thought was, well, if you're going to be stupid enough to get on and not wait for me because he was getting impatient, then whatever. And it wasn't 30 seconds later, he's bucking around the arena and ends up on the floor. So
and then
Okay.
and what happened?
Then what?
yeah, so I jumped off as soon as I saw him not move, because a lot of people, when they get bucked off, they try to get up, even if they can't, they still attempt to, and he didn't even attempt to. So I knew he was knocked out, and I ran out to the truck and grabbed my phone and called 911 and took him to the hospital. He had 3 active bleeds on the brain, and if they had not stopped by the next morning, they were going to drill holes in his skull and put him in an induced coma and relieve some of the pressure off the brain. But God, we prayed, and
You were at
the bleeding had stopped.
Your country church came to the hospital,
They did.
and they prayed for miraculous healing.
Yep.
And tell us then what happened how long was it before he went home?
Yeah. So he was in the hospital for 8 days, and he went home with outpatient rehab. And so the things that were affected were his fine motor skills. He couldn't walk. I think it was around 6 days before he could actually walk. And that wasn't even on his own. So we were still assisting him even once we took him home. And then he was in therapy for around 3 months. And
How did you feel during that time? What were you going through emotionally?
yeah. So the worst part of it, believe it or not, like, of course I was upset and I cried myself to sleep multiple times. I had a good friend, Cassandra Garten, who wrote that song.
And sang that song.
Sang
She's
that song.
amazing.
Yes. She was
Amazing.
my rock. I mean, she was the first person through the ER doors, wrapping her arms around me that day. So just my rock through the whole thing, and kept giving me scriptures every day, and I think she was at the hospital about every day. And anyway, so that was terrible. But the thing that I missed the most, because we had to come home, we had to have somebody come home with us so that I could go to work. So we had somebody living with us, helping. And the worst part was, like, I just want to go on a date with my husband. I just want my husband back, which he wasn't really normal. So I couldn't even carry on a conversation with him. He wouldn't, getting him to talk was very hard.
What would he do? How would he?
Oh, he just stared. He just
Oh,
stared.
my word. Did the doctor say that?
I mean, it is very normal. Traumatic brain injuries are funny. They affect everybody differently. They have personality changes. They have, obviously, speech problems. I mean, there's a lot. Anything that you can think of in your daily life that could be affected can be affected by a traumatic brain injury.
Like, when was the breakthrough, and what was the breakthrough?
About I would say a month afterwards, he one of the ladies that was living with us, she wanted to take him to a prayer meeting, and he still wasn't walking on his own, and she was an elderly lady, and I did not want them going. I actually got mad at her about it. And we're friends. She actually lives down the road from us now, but anyway, I didn't want her taking him, and I was like, you hold on to him, and I'm thinking, here's this 70-year-old lady that's taken my 200-pound husband out, and took him to prayer meeting, and I wasn't there, but they said that night that they prayed over him, and something happened, and from that moment on, what would appear to be depression, even though it was mostly it was probably mental and emotional from the traumatic brain injury, that had started to leave, and slowly.
Was it at your country church, or was it at a prayer meeting?
It was at the one we pastor now.
Wow. Yes. Okay. So that was about a few months, a month or two, and then he had a miraculous healing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I think, God had already started the healing because he stopped the bleeding from day one, and then things, it was up and down for a while, but.
And was he working before he got hurt?
Yes, he was a teacher.
And how long was it before he went back?
He ended up coaching track. He was a track coach, but he made it to like the last few track practices in May, but he didn't actually start back to school then until the following year. So he had the whole summer to recoup.
The injury was in February?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so he had about six months total off.
Okay, so we have an engineer who's now construction manager. We got what do you call it, special ed, or what do you call what his kind of job title?
He's in a therapeutic treatment facility.
Okay, so we got
all boys, correct?
All boys,
and
yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, a 35-acre horse farm. What type of farm do you call it?
Where
ranch.
He's at?
Where you guys are now?
Where we're at? Okay, yeah.
What do you call that? What type of farm?
We call it Ruble Ranch. Ruble Ranch.
Ruble Ranch. Yes.
Okay, we got Ruble Ranch.
Yeah.
2 people with full-time jobs. Tell us about your animals, and tell us what happened. Why we have you on video now? Tell us that what you guys do, what animals you have, what you do.
Well, after he had the brain injury, he said he wanted to ride again, and I said no.
Who took care of the horses when he was immobile and you were still working?
So I had a horse in training with a professional trainer, so she cared for the show horse at that time, and then the ones at home, we had some friends and neighbors that would check on them. But I remember Howard, which is Cassie's husband, he would drop off hay. Okay. They lived an hour away, and he would come up and he'd put hay out for the horses, and just to kind of keep them going. Nice. But they've been up for themselves pretty good. But he wanted to ride again, and I didn't want him to.
Oh boy, that's a fear to overcome, isn't it?
Yep. So I said, if you're gonna ride, you're gonna go take lessons with a professional. You're gonna ride a good horse, not just a young one.
So you hadn't taken lessons?
I had been. He had not.
Okay.
Oh, he had never taken lessons.
I see.
Oh,
so
interesting.
He just wanted to wing it.
Yeah, Jeff is a winger.
Yeah, he just wanted to have fun and do it when it was convenient.
I got a lot of injuries, so I won't get into my stuff. But it's interesting.
Yeah, he wanted to ride when friends were around or when other people were around, and he didn't want to put in the time. And I said, if you're going to ride, you're going to put in the time. And he did.
He knew. He didn't want to go through that again. Okay, so share how you did the music video, because that was the initial before our sizzle.
Right. So I wrote a devotional, and
I know, and it's called Unbridled Faith, and you see it. And where can you get it?
You can get it on Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble.
Unbridled Faith by Heather Ruble. Yes. Now, what prompted you to write the devotional?
Right. I don't even know, but I said, social media is great. So people make a living now at social media, but Absolutely. I started sharing Zach's story on Facebook and kind of writing some daily posts as I went through it. And, a few years had passed, actually several years had passed, probably around 5. And I thought, I should put all these into a book, and I had to go back and rewrite because they were social media, but that's kind of what started my writing.
Did you always want to be a writer?
No.
Because you're such a good writer.
No.
You are such a good writer.
No, I had never even thought about it. And like I said, I just started sharing his story on social media. And then I thought, man, I should probably put these in a book. And so we did. And then after I did the book, and I kind of wanted, it's a great story, and wanted to share it. And so visuals are great. And I thought, let's do a music video. And we had the parts and the pieces to do it. And so we did that.
And your friend Cassandra, who wrote that amazing song, who is an amazing vocalist, was original songs.
So you asked her to write a song for the video? or
No,
what?
so she actually recorded I'm No Longer a Slave to Fear,
yes.
which was, we got the rights on it. And she just recorded that song. And I thought it was great because we had struggled with fear, or I had. He did too. He didn't admit it, but to ride again. And so we just kind of showed that story.
Getting back on the horse when you fall off. They write movies about that, right?
Yeah.
So then she wrote the song Unbridled Faith. Did it just come?
Yeah.
Or she knew you had the devotional and thought, oh, how did...
So we did the music video. We did a red carpet premiere at a cowboy church for the ride. And
you reenacted his accident.
Yep, in that. And a few months later, we, COVID hit and we got bored and we said, hey, let's just do a reality TV show. So we started down that road, and Cass texted me and said, hey, I wrote a song for you guys. If you want to use it, fine. If not, that's fine too.
Isn't that something?
And it was amazing. I said, oh my goodness, Cass, thank you. So we thought, that will be our theme song. And we made her get it copyrighted and record it. And so that's what she did.
And we were blown away that we had the opportunity to come in and start working with you guys, as we say in New York, you guys.
We needed help. I was like, oh, reality TV show, this would be easy. You just, do your thing. And it wasn't quite that easy.
Yes, and we met you
We needed some professionals.
Yeah, how the whole thing, isn't it funny how Branson, the small network, because we had worked with Clayton for music, because he was orchestrating some of our music, because Mitch, our music person, had moved to Springfield. And then he's like, oh yeah, they need an acting coach.
Clayton Watson, wonderful filmmaker.
Yeah. I didn't understand why we needed an acting coach, because we weren't really acting, but then I realized.
The difference, like learning how to be in the moment and being real, even in a situation you're always in, but when there's a camera rolling, right? It's not as simple as you think.
I got to throw Zach under the bus because he is so interesting. So I got to throw him under the bus.
He's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, why do you start talking in another accent every time there's a camera? And it varies. I don't know. I don't even know what kind of accent it is, but every time the camera comes out.
He's a good sport. He is such a good sport. We really rip into him.
He takes a hit. And he just keeps
we go,
walking.
what are you doing?
He's moving.
But he takes it so beautifully that we kind of laugh, right?
Oh,
no, but he is his own worst critic. He says, "Oh, I'm awful. What am I doing?
I didn't get this." And
it's embarrassing.
The big thing Heather and Zach had to learn. It's like when they go, "Oh, we're horrible," and they stop when we're filming. It's like, okay. The director says, cut. You are not horrible. Like, you have to keep going. And in the moment, talk about the pinch
and I get
pause.
so mad at Zach, though. I get mad. So then this rage comes out. and then that's what's shown on camera.
He stops himself, but she stops him also.
Oh, they both.
What are you doing?
Stop touching that.
Oh, no, Jeff does that all the time. He's always fidgeting.
He's a fidgeter.
That's what Jeff does.
And I'm just trying to focus on the conversation that we're having. And he starts touching stuff.
The last time I was watching him fidget, I'm thinking, this is what Jeff's doing. He is distracting Heather. He's distracting me. And the camera's on. Like, what is he doing? We're doing, yes.
I was pouring my heart and soul into it. And finally, I'm like, that's it.
Well, Jeff, this happened. I was working with Heather alone. Jeff was upstairs working with Zach. And then Heather was doing this she was so in the moment. Oh, she was sharing something. It was just amazing. And then she gets, it's called the subconscious working. It's that inner voice in method acting. The subconscious is working, and it just was like amazing. And Heather goes, stop. That was wrong. It was bad. I'm sorry. And I'm like, what? That's called I hit her.
She hit me.
I know. I
hit her. I hit him all the time. And I went, that's called a Pinter's pause. That's the brilliance in silence is golden. But the same thing was happening with Jeff upstairs with Zach. I didn't know that.
But
you didn't
told
hit him. You didn't hit him
to do a pinter.
She did
enjoy pinter pauses.
See, she was
and
doing
enjoy like this dramatic break, just a pause, and it's amazing how powerful it is. And there's powerful.
See, I was uneducated. My acting coach didn't educate me, and then she punished me.
She freaked. It was right. I'm thinking this is phenomenal. She's so going to those places she needs to go to, and then it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. So I'm like, what? Oh my goodness! So it's just been really a joy
Yeah.
because you're both so pliable.
Right.
And now share about you went to the NRB,
Oh, yes.
what that is. Share
National
that.
Religious
Great.
Broadcasters Conventions.
Oh, my
Basically the
goodness.
biggest
I loved it.
Christian convention for performing arts in the country.
Social
We told
media.
them about that, and you took your basic premise and your initial video there, and tell us what happened.
Yeah. Well, the NRB is great, and it was just so eye-opening how we are as Christians, we should be on a mission statement to take back everything that the enemy's taken, and he has taken over the media, he's taken over Hollywood, he's taken over all these things, and it's time for Christians to get up and not create cheesy Christian films, even though I'm attempting to make one right now. But we don't want it cheesy, we want it good.
Ever evolving.
And
we go from glory to glory.
And in the Christian realm, we just need to stand up and start making our voices more heard, and acting and showing it on movies and film and TV is great. So the NRB, they just opened up my eyes to how many people are actually trying to do that, and that their mission statement truly is, even though there's commerce being exchanged, their mission statement truly is to spread the gospel of Jesus and to spread the word of God and encourage people in that realm. So that was super exciting.
And they did win a special newbie award. Share that.
Our TV show Unbridled Faith won the Nova Award, and we were super excited because there was a lot of great stuff there, and some things that have already went out in I forgot how many was in our division, but we were awarded the Nova Award, and we brought home our little trophy, and we were excited.
For a new show that is not yet aired. And now we have Bobby Merritt of the entertainment group, and she's overseeing representing
and
the project.
What I saw in the video, Peg might add to this, we saw, well, they do breeding, which we don't know.
Yes.
We don't understand, of horses and animals. They do reining, which we had no idea what that was, but that's a type of equestrian. That's cool when they run and they spin and they slide. It's different than what, we used to think of as equestrian, which is just jumping over the hurdles and, but it's like amazing stuff. And it's like, and it's a very big thing in America. And I've sort of seen a little bit, but what other comments did you get about? And that's kind of what you want to talk about is, and we're down to about 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think is the appeal of the program? And because you got great response, what is a big, and then what do you want to say moving forward?
I think
in about 2 minutes.
Okay. I think everybody loves horses, dogs, and that's the lifestyle that we live. Is just, in the reining world or in the equestrian world. And the horse world is actually pretty big. And even people who aren't involved in sports seem to like watching it. It is entertaining, and horses are just very majestic anyway. And there's a lot to talk about. My goal was to not actually have the show on our life, but on our animals' lives, because I had a Tucker, my golden retriever, was healed of cancer, and Zach's reining horse, she's fought a lot battles and just made it through. And so the story there, just to keep on with these animals, they're they have a zeal for life, and they want to keep living, and they keep fighting battles. And it's the same way in our human life that we need to just
that's why you two are starring with your animals. So do you have a scripture you'd like to just part with?
Well, I love James 1 and 2, and it talks about count it all joy when you fall into various trials, for these trials produce patience. And that is true when you are going through trials. When you get to the other side, sometimes they are life-changing, but if you let them, they'll change it for the better.
That's
full-time jobs, full-time farm, full-time filming.
And watch for Unbridled Faith, and God turns all things around and works them for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So let's hear it for our Heather Ruble. I want to say Heather Ruble.
That's perfectly fine.
Competitive reigners, breeders. Amazing.
I put that.
Thank you, Lord,
Heather
for all the
and
blessings.
Zach, yes.
Let's take us home, Peg.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. And thank you, Mr. Matt, our station manager, the best in the world. So next time we're going to have Zach on, and then we'll have Heather with him. We can do you again.
That'd be fun.
Double blessing.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
let him talk.
Good.
Amen.
God bless.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
all. God bless.
listening.